I am Cleopatra VII for Philopater, the last active pharaoh of Ptolemaic Egypt. Though history has painted me as either a seductress or a villain, the truth is far more complex. I was a scholar who spoke 9 languages, a shrewd politician who navigated the treacherous waters of Roman expansion, and a ruler who fought desperately to preserve my kingdom's independence for over 2 decades. Born in 69 BCE in Alexandria, I inherited more than just a throne. I inherited a legacy 3 centuries in the making. My ancestor, Ptolemy I, was a general of Alexander the Great who claimed Egypt after Alexander's death. For 300 years, my family had ruled the richest kingdom in the Mediterranean world. Alexandria was the intellectual capital of the ancient world. Our great library housed over 400,000 scrolls, the collected knowledge of humanity. I was educated here among the greatest minds of our time, studying mathematics, philosophy, rhetoric, and languages. Unlike my predecessors who spoke only Greek, I mastered Egyptian, Latin, Hebrew, Arabic, and several other tongues. But knowledge alone could not save my kingdom. Egypt, though wealthy, had become dependent on Rome for military protection. My father, Ptolemy XIII, had borrowed heavily from Roman financiers and been forced into humiliating agreements. When I ascended to the throne at 1851 BCE, Egypt was sovereign in name only. Rome was ascendant, having conquered Greece, Asia Minor, and much of the Mediterranean. The Republic was fracturing under the weight of its own success, with powerful generals like Pompey, Julius Caesar, and Marcus Crassus vying for control. Egypt's survival depended on choosing the right ally at the right moment. I ruled jointly with my younger brother, Ptolemy III, as was our family tradition, but soon conflict arose. He was controlled by advisors who favored complete submission to Rome, while I believed Egypt could maintain some independence through careful diplomacy. By 48 BCE, civil war had erupted between us. Fortune arrived in the form of Julius Caesar, pursuing his rival Pompey to Alexandria. My brother's advisors, thinking to curry favor with the apparent victor, murdered Pompey and presented his head to Caesar. They miscalculated badly. Caesar was disgusted by this treachery toward a fellow Roman. Knowing Caesar's character, I devised a bold plan. I had myself smuggled into his presence wrapped in a carpet, not as seduction, but as statecraft. I needed to speak with him before my brother's advisors could poison his mind against me. When I emerged and addressed him in perfect Latin, I saw respect in his eyes, not just desire. Caesar was 52, I was 21, but we connected as equals, 2 brilliant minds discussing philosophy, governance, and the future of our respective nations. Yes, we became lovers, but our relationship was fundamentally political. He needed Egypt's wealth to fund his ambitions. I needed Rome's protection to secure my throne. Our alliance sparked the Alexandrian War. My brother's forces, supported by Alexandrian mobs, besieged us in the palace quarter. Caesar's reinforcements arrived just in time, and Ptolemy III drowned fleeing across the Nile. I was now sole ruler of Egypt, backed by Rome's greatest general. In 47 BCE, I bore Caesar's son, Caesarion, Little Caesar. Some questioned his parentage, but Caesar acknowledged him publicly. This child represented my hope for a dynasty that would unite Egypt and Rome as equals, not as conqueror and conquered. I followed Caesar to Rome in 46 BCE, hoping to formalize our alliance. My arrival caused a sensation. An Eastern queen in the heart of the Republic, living openly as Caesar's consort while he remained married to Calpurnia. The Romans were simultaneously fascinated and scandalized. Everything changed on the Ides of March, 44 BCE. Caesar's assassination shattered my carefully laid plans. I fled Rome immediately, knowing that without his protection, both my life and my kingdom were in mortal danger. Egypt's future once again hung in the balance. Back in Alexandria, I watched Rome tear itself apart in civil war. Eventually, Mark Antony emerged as ruler of the East and summoned me to Tarsus in 41 BCE. Once again, I would have to charm a Roman general to save my kingdom, but this time would be different. I arrived dressed as Aphrodite on a golden barge with purple sails and silver oars, my servants costumed as cupids. This was theater designed to overawe Antony, and it worked perfectly. But beneath the spectacle lay serious diplomatic purpose. I was demonstrating Egypt's wealth and sophistication. Antony was different from Caesar, more emotional, more romantic, but also more reckless. Where Caesar had been calculating, Antony was passionate. Our relationship quickly became both deeply personal and politically essential. He needed Egypt's resources for his Parthian campaigns. I needed his legions for protection. We had 3 children together, the twins Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene, and later young Ptolemy Philadelphus. For a decade, we ruled the Eastern Mediterranean as partners, dividing territories and titles between our children. I dreamed of an empire where East and West would merge as equals. But Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir, was building power in Rome. He was everything Antony was not: cold, calculating, and utterly ruthless. He portrayed our relationship as the corruption of a noble Roman by a foreign sorceress, turning Roman xenophobia against us. By 32 BCE, war was inevitable. Octavian declared war not on Antony, but on me personally, a masterstroke that allowed him to frame the conflict as Rome versus Egypt rather than Roman versus Roman. We prepared for the battle that would determine the fate of the ancient world. At Actium in 31 BCE, our combined fleets met Octavian's navy. When the battle turned against us, I ordered my ships to retreat, saving my treasure and my fleet to fight another day. Antony followed me, and our enemies called it cowardice. I called it survival. For a year, we held out in Alexandria as Octavian approached. I tested various poisons on condemned prisoners, seeking a dignified death should capture become inevitable. When Antony fell on his sword, believing I was already dead, I knew my time had come. I met with Octavian one last time, hoping to secure my children's futures. He was courteous but implacable. I would be paraded through Rome as a trophy, and Egypt would become a Roman province. After 300 years, the Ptolemaic dynasty would end in humiliation. On August 30th, 30 BCE, I chose death over dishonor. The asp's bite was swift and relatively painless. A pharaoh's death, not a captive's shame. I died as I had lived on my own terms, mistress of my own fate, until the very end. With my death, the Hellenistic age ended and Rome's dominance was complete. Egypt, the last independent Hellenistic kingdom, became a Roman province. The ancient pharaonic tradition that had lasted 3 millennia was finally extinguished. History has been unkind to me, written by my Roman conquerors who portrayed me as a seductress rather than the capable ruler I was. I spoke 9 languages, was a patron of learning, and kept Egypt independent for 21 years against impossible odds. I was the last pharaoh, the end of an age and the beginning of another. I am Cleopatra VII, daughter of the Nile, heir to Alexander's dream and the last queen of Egypt. Though my kingdom fell, my story endures, not as Rome wished to tell it, but as it truly was, the tale of a brilliant woman who dared to challenge an empire.